All right, we're just gonna mix some color in this pulp. But one thing I forgot the other day when we were like doing like beating pulp is the way you can tell if it's done. You're supposed to put some in a bunch of water and shake it. And you're not supposed to see any clumps in there. So it's called the freeness test. Like, is all of it free? Separate strands, not lumps. So the freeness test is one way, like you say, how do you tell when you're done? Or did we keep going when we didn't really have to keep going? So that looks good enough. I just assumed it would. This won't add much water to that, so I'll just add it to that. All right, so we have our pulp in here. We have our colors here. It's extremely intense dye. But you can only make light colors unless you use something called retention aid that actually makes it grab. It's actually scientific positive negative charge. It's really strange how it keeps working. Like black is really hard to do. It's why you can never re-dye your Levi's black again if you try to get the stuff from the store, because you don't have retention aid, which they would always use, right? And you can't make a bright color unless you cut it up very fine. In other words, it takes way longer to beat the pulp, because if it has more sides, right? If you slice an ice cube like 7 times, you'd have like 24 sides or whatever to it. But if you did 1,000 times, you'd have thousands of sides. So that's the same thing with pulp. If I could dye more sides, I can make it darker. So this pulp is just roughly done, and it doesn't have retention aid either. We can make any light color we want, but no dark colors. And we have to beat it longer for really bright colors. But we could use retention aid and get about 50% bright, like a baby blue or medium blue. So what's a color we could use? Because I want to say something about it. Like there's a
Well, I'm wanting to use have a blue-gray, like a pale, really pale blue-gray.
I might take blue plus orange or something. We could start with what I was going to say is, don't stick even your spoon in it. The color's so powerful, we want to just put a little in it and see what it does. I didn't even get to hold, just like talking about a few drops.
Oh, okay.
Because
It has a high density pigment.
yeah, and so if you're making a light color,
Yeah, we want it to be really pale.
we have more pulp, so we can make this a little lighter, but if it went too dark, we'd have no options. There's one other thing about this too. Is we want, even this light wants to be 100% in it. It shouldn't be just getting on stuff you lay it on. Like say you laid your paper on a tablecloth and it got wet, it shouldn't make your tablecloth blue, right? It just has to be retained. There's a way you can test that with just a piece of, like a bag. I didn't really get this ready for that, but here's a cleaner one. This is a little whitish pulp in it, but it's fine. We'll put a couple of cups of it in here. And we want to see what the water is doing along the side of the baggie. Is it like blue water flowing down, or is the water clear and the pulp's just blue? So if I splash it up against the side, do I see like this weird blue color splashing down? This looks like the stuff dripping down is clear. But in a brighter color, you really want to do that. When Shannon made that red paper that was getting all over everything, it would have just been red water blowing down. And it was going to make everything red that it touched when it was wet, and got all of the interfacing and blankets red, right? It has to be 100% contained. You either have to add more pulp or add more retention aid, right? We haven't made that yet, retention aid, but we don't need to make a really dark color, so we may not make it. But if we want some medium colors, like 2/3 blue, like pretty bright, like this bucket, then we're going to have to add retention aid, right? So actually you can see your color pretty well there too.
It's kind of green though, so
Yeah, it's
how
green.
do we make it a little more blue, like a little tiny bit more blue? I mean, that's kind of fine though, too.
It looks like our bluest blue.
Yeah, I think. So,
See, it looks almost violet here,
yeah.
so I don't know what to say about that. Maybe because we have yellow paper, we can't
Yeah.
do much about it. But I'm glad I didn't even use all of this, right? So usually you just stick a little piece of
You
wood
think that's
in
enough?
color.
Yeah.
I'm looking to see what other, here's a blue. We could try this separate and see if it's a better blue. Looks like I have to add some water to it. Kind of dried out. That looks very blue though. I don't think this is going to be much better. That looks almost more violet. It should almost be better than this, as far as green blue. I think this is as blue as we're gonna get it.
Okay.
Because of our yellow paper. We didn't think about that so much, but we made a lot of yellow in the paper. What we could do is take some of the, put a tiny bit of orange in it, right, to get the gray you wanted, but also get rid of the, well, a little red instead of, we could put more red in it, get rid of the green feel, go gray. You want to put a dot of red to kill the green and go more gray.